thing to do. Let's have a look at equity accounting. If we have a look at equity accounting, I need to pick up the parent's investment in the associate, and then I need to add the share of the post-acquisition. And whatever the share of the post-acquisition is, this will be a double entry to retained earnings. So there are two numbers that I'm looking for here. What is the parent's investment in the associate? Do you want to work it out the long way, or do you want to work it out the quick way? What's the figure in the balance sheet? 48. There we are. There's the answer. 48. Bang. Thank you. Yeah, the parent company, because we buy it for 18, we then, oh God, no, yeah, look, it's 48, 48, yeah, get a life, move on. How long has it been an associate for? 2 years? What's our year end? November 12. When did we get the extra 16%? 1st of June. So how long ago was that? 6 months. So it's only been an associate for 6 months. So when I take the share of the post-acquisition profit, when it was 14%, it wasn't an associate. My share of the post-acquisition profit is 30%. 30% of what? 30% of this year's profits. How much are this year's profits? 20, 30? 30. But that 30, time apportion that 30, yeah, is effectively only there for 6 months. So 30% of 30 is 9. 6/12 of 9. 30% of 30 is 9? Yes. 6/12 of 9 is 4.5. Hang on a minute. That is not the profit that I have retained. Why is that not the profit that I have retained? Because I have received a dividend. So the dividend received is 2. So strictly speaking, the amount of the retained profit is 2.5. This is worth 4 marks. Back I go. On my balance sheet, I have to figure the dividend. Don't time apportion the dividend. Back I go. The 2.5 is in retained earnings. Back I go, the 2.5 is in retained earnings. So from note number 4, we've got the share of the associate profit. The marking guide said that was worth 4 marks. I'm not 100% convinced. Let me tell you where the marks are. The marking guide said it was worth 4 marks, yeah? You would get 1 mark for dealing with the dividend correctly, half a mark each, yeah? You would get 1 mark for putting a figure on the balance sheet. So maybe half a mark if you got it wrong. And then you would get 1 mark, yeah, for the retained earnings, 1 mark for the balance sheet. But that only makes 3 marks. So 1 mark for correctly sorting out the dividend, half a mark each, 2 and 2, yeah. 1 mark for showing a figure on the balance sheet of 50.5, half a mark if you show a slightly different figure. 1 mark for getting the 2.5, half a mark if you show a slightly different figure. So if you make a mistake with the dividend, yeah, you can still get half a mark here and half a mark here. There's something missing. And it's a mark of my respect for you that I'm going to explain it. Because there are many classes where I don't bother and just, let's move on. But at the moment, my answer is worth 34 out of 35. And I'm about to reach and try and get that final answer. Trouble is, sometimes when you reach like that, you fall off the ladder, don't you? Does anybody know what I'm about to say? Yes. Talk to me about the fair value. Yes, you're right. Carry on a little bit more, perhaps. When we bought the... right, okay, slow down. Yesterday, we looked at a step acquisition of a sub, correct? And therefore, when we revalued the first investment up, we took the gain to profit. What we're looking at here is a step acquisition of an associate. And a step acquisition of an associate, which was previously classified as fair value through OCI. So there is sitting in other components of equity a balance of a gain which is no longer relevant and can be transferred to retained earnings. And perhaps the only way of getting to this is by working out the 48 the long way. When you bought the original investment, you bought it for 18. This was then accounted for as fair value through OCI, and then you bought an additional 16% investment for 27, and when you bought that 27, the 18 and the 27 came to 48. But it doesn't come to 48. 18 and 27 comes to 45. You are then told that therefore 45 and 48, there's a difference of 3. But you are then told that the original 14% was worth 21. So 21 and 27 make 48. There are two ways that you can think of the 3, but the 3 is the balancing number. $18 plus 27 makes 45. So there must have been a revaluation of 3. You're told the value is 21 and the cost was 18. So this 3 has been treated as fair value through OCI. That 3 is a gain that has gone to other components of equity. That 3 is no longer needed in other components of equity because it is now an associate. So you can do a little movement in the reserves. So we can effectively take 3 out of working 6. We can take 3 out of working 6. So we can remove the fair value through OCI on the associate story from note number 4. So we can remove that 3. And we can transfer it to retained earnings, debiting other, crediting retained earnings. So we can bring in here from note number 4, we can bring in here the figure of 3, from other components of equity, your fair value through OCI investment. Honestly, I'm not sure why I bother. Honestly, nobody who got this This is not a pass or fail point. Yeah? Nobody who got this right passed as a result. Nobody who got this right, therefore that was their 50th mark and they passed with 50. You do not have to get this correct to pass the exam. What you have to be able to do is to calculate goodwill, sort out the impairment loss, bring in the fair value adjustment, lay out your workings neatly, try and do something with the held for sale, try and do something with the associate. There are 4 marks for the associate. Yeah? 1 mark for reversing out the dividend. Yeah? 1 mark for trying to work out the post-acquisition profit. 1 mark for putting a figure on the balance sheet, and 1 mark for doing this stupid, consequence of a step acquisition of an associate which was previously a fair value through OCI. I mean, I do hope you understand it, but I'm not gonna bust a gut if you don't, because it's like some of you will get it and some of you won't, but it's not a pass or fail issue. I'm pausing for 1 minute. I'm not going to add up the balance sheet. I know it balances. I know I've got 35 out of 35. There is a typed answer at the back. In a minute I'm going to move on, but before we move on, I just want to allow a little bit of dust to settle. And if there are any observations or questions about this part of the question, now is a good time to voice them. Yes. Why are we removing 3 from other components of equity into retained earnings? When the original 14% or whatever it was held for 18 months, it was revalued up from 18 to 21. Now that investment was classified as fair value for OCI, so that investment, that 3, was taken to other components of equity. In the group balance sheet, you do not have a fair value through OCI investment. So in the group balance sheet, you don't have a fair value for OCI because it's become an associate. So in the group balance sheet, you don't need the 3 in other components of equity. So you transfer it to retained earnings. Yeah, you transfer it to retained earnings. You take it out and then bring it in. So it doesn't affect the balance sheet balancing, but it's about the distinction between what is profit distributable, retained earnings, and what is other components of equity. No, that's TMI. The fact that you've had a 2-year relationship, 14% and then 30%, the 30%, it's been an associate for 6 months. So I'm only going to bring in 30% of the post-acquisition profit. The fact that in 2011 you made a profit of 20 million is TMI, too much information. What you're bringing in then is the fair value OCI business of 3. So that 20 is an irrelevant piece of information. He's trying to trick you with that information. There is a very important second part to the question, which I want to have a look at. But I just, first of all, want to take you back to the beginning. And when we looked at the beginning, what we said to ourselves was, sort out sub 1, sort out sub 2, draft up the balance sheet, budget is 45 minutes. Because this is earning you 25 marks. What we then said is there are other paragraphs of information which contain accounting issues, and these will be worth approximately 10 marks, and you should devote some time to trying to sort them out. They are an extra 18 minutes. And when it comes to it, don't add up the balance sheet, don't add up retained earnings, don't add up NCI, don't add up other components of equity. If you did want to spend a few minutes adding up current assets or adding up current liabilities, you could do that. Yeah, it would just tidy up the balance sheet just a little bit. But I want to do part B and I want to do part C. Only when we have done part B and only when we have done part C will I be happy to go for lunch.